Hey everyone, this is Paul here with the full moon report for the moon in Cancer on the 12th of January at 11:33 AM Universal Time. Now, the theme of this particular full moon is to assess whether we get the balance right between our personal private selves and our public identity. So it's really seeing, is the stuff that we're doing in the public sphere in tune with who we are as people, or have we settled for something which brings us a degree of social status, but it doesn't actually feel nourishing for our souls, doesn't allow us to feel emotionally sustained, and we don't feel like our authentic selves. So Sun is in Capricorn at the moment, and during this transit it's all about our personal destinies, our integrity. There's also learning how to align ourselves with universal laws, so the laws of karma, and it's not just understanding these but actually applying them in our lives so that we're aligned with the laws of the universe and not just giving cheap service but incurring karma because we're violating these laws. And in order to do this, we really have to know who we are. It's okay reading about these laws, but to actually apply them we have to understand who we are at a deep level and align ourselves in that manner. The moon in Cancer, this is all about our emotional needs. So we would have set some goals back on the 29th of January when we had the new moon. Now the moon coming around into her home sign of Cancer, it's really reflecting, seeing, do the goals that we've been pursuing actually feel like they nurture us? Do they nourish our souls? Or are these goals just some cheap replica which we thought sounded good but isn't actually aligned with who we are? And it can't, because Capricorn is all about building a legacy, it can take courage to do this, because if we've spent a long time focusing on one particular goal, thinking that's who we are, only to find out actually we've been pursuing something which isn't true to who we are anymore, sometimes it takes a lot of courage to let go of that old dream and acknowledge, this isn't who I am anymore, it's time to do something different. But it requires reflection first, because if we don't know who we are, then we can't really identify what we're supposed to be doing at all. It's only by knowing ourselves that we can live our lives aligned with our highest purpose, if you like. And sometimes, considering the amount of pressure we have from the status quo to conform to certain expectations, for some people more than others it can be very difficult to break free of old conditioning, to break free of the pressure of to conform to the status quo and be true to who we are. Now obviously if we have a community of like-minded individuals, it becomes a lot easier because we're getting the support in the process to help us stay on track and stay true to who we are. But if we're doing it on our own, this can be tricky, so it's important that we have like-minded people, if you like, who resonate with who we're becoming, because they're the ones who help us to become motivated, follow our dreams and not just stick with what's safe, if you like. Now at the same time as all this, we have Uranus over in Aries, which is all about desire for freedom. It's about tuning into the I unconscious, and it's really been revealing stuff about ourselves that we didn't know before, because Uranus tends to come through revelation and surprises. Sometimes it's an internal change, or sometimes events happen outside ourselves that reflect what's happening inside, that show us parts of us that are waking up that we didn't know existed. But one issue we have to be careful of here is that Aries is freedom loving, and whilst there's no harm in that whatsoever, with Uranus here we need to be careful that we don't have such a strong desire for freedom that we stop taking into account other people around us. We can't just make snap decisions that have consequences on others without thinking about the other people first, because the other people have equally valid needs as our own. We can't just ignore them, pretending that, well, they don't matter, so we think about how that person feels. This is where Jupiter and Libra also comes into the picture, because Jupiter and Libra is showing us that if we want to tap into divine grace to help us achieve a flow in life, we need to start working together as communities to cooperate with one another instead of maintaining the old me versus the world's mentality that a lot of business has been based around before, and a lot of lifestyle. We've had the attitude of the rugged individualist celebrated and venerated, especially in the West, for quite some time now, but we've reached a point in time where it's clear that this particular archetype, this mentality, it doesn't work anymore. If we try and pursue things on our own without getting other people involved through mutual cooperation, then the goals that we may want to achieve may elude us, because we need to help each other out and generate a flow of grace to help us achieve our goals through working in harmony and balance with one another. Because the people we're with reflect back to us parts of ourselves that we may not yet be aware of. But if we learn to integrate those parts of ourselves, we become more whole as individuals. We can become a better version of ourselves by integrating those bits which we weren't aware of before and acknowledging that they're there. And the more whole we become, the closer we can be towards fulfilling our own purpose, if you like, in life, and identifying the gifts and vision that we're here to impart to others to try and make a difference in the world. But we have to learn to temper the ego in the whole process and not think that we're more important than anyone else, because we're not. At the end of the day, we are each other's keepers. If we don't take care of each other without whilst making sure that we stay true to ourselves and don't drain our own batteries in the process of running after others, then things just won't work out, because cooperation is the name of the game these days. If we truly want to achieve something long lasting that's going to survive all the chaos that we're experiencing around us, we have to work together in a loving, mutual kind of way. With all this going on, we also have a lot of activity in Pisces at the moment, which is a sign of letting go. It's surrendering the old to the divine, and just accepting that when things have come to pass, when it's time for them to end, it's better to let go and surrender them back into the whole rather than trying to keep hold of them. So we may be experiencing, because we've got Mars, Venus, Pallas Athena, Neptune and Chiron are all in Pisces. Now, of the 5, Chiron's the only one forming direct aspects to this full moon. So what that's potentially showing us is that we need to look at where do we hold on to wounds which keep us feeling separated from everybody else. It keeps us feeling separated from our divine spark. Because we all have divinity within us. We may not feel like it, but if we actually enter the wounds of separation that we've taken on board and believe as part of ourselves, and we surround those wounds with love, fill them with healing love, then all the separation that we've battled with, the disconnection from source, can be healed. We can tap into the power of love rather than using various dramas to try and control each other. But with this full moon, we need to really slow down, come back into our heart spaces, and just make sure that what we're doing is true to who we are, and not just borrowing someone else's dream or going along with the status quo because we don't think we can do any better. We all can, but we all have to have faith in ourselves, and we all have to make sure that we nourish our emotional side and don't just switch it off, as much as there's a lot of pressure to do that. So it's time to connect with our emotions, make sure that we don't forget to stop loving ourselves no matter how many obstacles we face, because it's through self-love that we heal ourselves and we can become a shining example to others. But if we don't love ourselves and nurture our own emotions, we can't really be of an example to others. So I hope that full moon report is beneficial for everyone. I hope it brings blessings and illumination. So Take care and be blessed.